Washington, D.C.
What's up, y'all? It's Anime Gamer back with another video. Tonight is going to be an interesting topic. We're going to talk about something that I think really honestly needs to be talked about. So we're going to talk about toxic positivity. And this is something I have actually seen quite a few gamers actually talk about. And I think it's something, that a lot more other people are talking about as well. It's not like a whole slew of people, obviously, because, a lot of people are asleep. But what I want to get into is what exactly it is and how damaging this is to you as an individual. Whether this can be whether you're a man or a woman, that doesn't really matter. But toxic positivity is a very unhealthy thing that, believe it or not, a lot of people do. And I'm pretty sure you have been, you'll try to tell your family, your loved ones, maybe your spouse, your friends, or maybe even a therapist possibly, or whoever, right? And they'll just tell you the most craziest, heartless answers. And we're going to talk about these. But basically, what toxic positivity is, it is an unhealthy dismissal, rejection of negative emotions or experiences in favor of forced optimism and happiness. So, I talked about in one of my videos before that a lot of these people you'll try to talk to, they want you to pretend as your problems in your past didn't happen. They want you to pretend that it doesn't exist, that it did not happen. And obviously, you cannot do that, obviously. If you really could do that, I think probably people would probably honestly do that, to be honest, instead of being in all the pain they're in, right? So, anyway, lots of people, what they will do is, people are very dismissive. When, family, friends, some kind of loved one, maybe even your spouse does this, because there are spouses who do this. But what they will do is when you tell them about said problem, they will start getting dismissive and they will start saying things like, oh, people have it worse than you, or suck it up, just get over it. Answers like this. And these answers do not help anybody. If anything, it makes the person saying these answers look like an asshole. That's literally it, like nothing else. So, and another thing is, like, the reason that they say these answers is because they simply do not care. And I've talked about in certain other videos about talking about your problems to people who do not care, who do not have your best interest to heart, who just simply do not give a crap about you. Like, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but like, you got to be able to protect yourself from these kinds of toxic individuals, because these kinds of people, they will, if they can get in your head, they will do it. They will do anything they can possibly do to get inside your brain and just to make you feel really bad about yourself, right? So, you know, sure, positive thinking at times can be beneficial, but it's like, you know, common sense applies just like it does to everything else. And, you know, a lot of times, like if you're anxious, you're depressed, maybe you feel like ending it. Maybe you just, maybe you've been abused in your life, or, you know, whatever it is you got going on that's really bad like that, right? Well, what these people will say is, like I said, they will tell you to suck it up for one. And two, another thing they will say is, oh, well, you know, be glad you have a roof over your head, or be glad you have a job, be glad you have food to eat. You know, they'll say some kind of like answer like this, right? And it's like, you know, when you really get down to think about it, it's like, you know, how is that helping me, or how is that even helping the other person, to be honest? Like, it's not helping anybody to even be talking like that, because all you're doing is being dismissive and showing the other person, A, you do not care, and B, you're showing them that they cannot trust you or talk to you. So, if a person is saying this kind of garbage to you as a human being, let me ask you this. Why in the hell would you listen to anything they have to say? Because, like I said earlier, yes, toxic positivity and positivity, they're two different things in a way. But, like, positive thinking, like I mentioned, it can be a good thing. However, it's not an all-the-time thing. As a matter of fact, you know, it's kind of more negative thinking than positive thinking, really, if you get down to it. I mean, this is 2025. It's not 1960s or whatever. Like, there's a lot of bad stuff that goes on. Like, I mean, even then, there times were bad. Like, you know, because it's always been bad. But, like, the thing with these people is they will go so far and above and beyond with toxic positivity, and they will honestly try to gaslight you into trying to think positive. So, what I mean by that is, like, say, well, I'm gonna give two examples. So say you lost your job, right? And, you know, you don't know how you're going to make ends meet. You don't know how you're going to pay your bills for this month. You don't know how you're going to keep food on the table. Say you got, like, a couple of kids, right? Or, say you got, like, you know, you got a wife or whatever, you know. And it's like, you know, let me ask you this. What is positive thinking going to do in this situation? Now, I'm not saying just sit there and just be, you know, all glum all the time and it just be like, woe is me or nothing. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, thinking like this, what purpose is this going to even serve? Like, really, what purpose is it going to serve? Because you're still going to be in the same situation regardless of your thinking. Like, I don't understand why people don't get that. Because, you know, that's like saying, like, okay, so there was this instance, right, like back in the Bible, right, where, like, Sarah, she tells, like, Abraham or something to go and, like, have a kid with this other woman because she thought she could not have a baby. Okay, she was not being toxic positivity or nothing. She was just accepting the outcome that she was never going to have a baby unless God had intervened, right? So, well, God does just that, but here's the thing. That was a different story. God actually intervened to do something. So, it's being toxic like that is just, it doesn't make a lick of sense. It doesn't do a lick of good either, because you also got to have common sense. Like, I'm not saying that God can't change the outcome, but you know what I'm saying is, no offense, like, you know, if you're like homeless on the street and you got like no money, right? Like, you got no money to pay no bills, none of that. What are the chances of you getting a house? What are the chances of you getting a place to live? I mean, seriously, what are the chances? Because here's the thing, there is no chance. You're not going to get it unless you can find somebody to use and abuse to bum off them. That's the only thing that that's going to happen. That, or you're going to be out and homeless in the cold and or the heat. You know, like, it's just, we're going to get to something else about that too. There's a reason I had brought homelessness up in that. But like, another thing too, y'all, is like, more people, it seems, have like the toxic positivity mindset than people who don't. So it's like, you know, toxic positivity is, I mean, it's extreme optimism. And extreme optimism is very overgeneralized. Like, it's bad. Like, it serves no good, no purpose, and it's like, you know, you're just making the issues worse when you do this crap, to be honest. Like, but it's like, you know, it's an instance or like a positive mindset even when facing difficulty or painful situations, right? So let me get this straight. So say a family member of yours has cancer, right? And they're literally on their deathbed. Okay? Like, they're on their deathbed. And then let's just say, oh, well, someone tells you to just be positive. They'll come around, you know. And you know yourself, they're not going to come around. Now, let me ask you this. What does the positive thinking do in this situation? Well, I'll tell you what it does. It lets you down. That's all it does. It does nothing else. It lets you down. And why would you want to go through that and be let down like that? I mean, I don't understand. Like, why people want to act like this and be this way, because, you know, like I mentioned earlier, like, let's just say, you know, you do have somebody like that, and a lot of us do. At some point in our lives, we will. You know, if a person has that kind of issue, now I'm not saying there are some cancers that can be cured, but I'm talking about an uncurable cancer. So this person has an uncurable cancer, and not only that, someone tells you, oh, well, just go and be positive. Like, you know, it'll get better, you know. Like, number one, they don't know that. They're full of shit. They don't know what the heck they're talking about. And two, it's like, you know, they don't want you to think this way so bad because they don't want you in reality. They do not want you to think realistically. And, you know, it makes no sense. Like, you know, why would you not want someone to think realistically? Because, let me ask you this. Like, a person who's doing this, you know, not only that, but it's extreme emotional invalidation. And they are neglecting this person's emotions, how they feel about said problem. And now I'm not talking about some stupid crap like, oh, I'm all in my feelings, and oh, you know, I don't know how I'm gonna, like, you know, something about maybe if it's like woke stuff or something, like or politics. Now that doesn't count. That's not what I'm talking about. Like, I'm talking about actual genuine issues, like, not something like to deal with politics, like I mentioned with the cancer thing. So it's basically dismissing and denying feelings like sadness or anger, fear, you know, any of those kinds of emotions like that, and trying to replace them with like platitudes or give false reassurances. And people who do this type of stuff, this toxic positivity, they are so fake. They are some of the fakest people around. Like, I have met many of these people in my life, and all of them, I mean every single one of them, are the fakest people on the freaking planet. Like, it doesn't get any worse, to be honest. Like, and it's also, they're trying to suppress your negative emotions. Like, you know, like it's like they're trying to hide or refuse to acknowledge any negative feelings, you know. And it's like, you know, that is not realistic. That is not, that just doesn't make any sense. Like, that doesn't make a lick of sense. And like an example of toxic, like examples of toxic positivity would be, say someone goes, oh, well, everything happens for a reason. Okay, that's being very dismissive, you know, and people who say this stuff are honestly very sick individuals in the head. They're very sick in the head. They do not have your best interest at heart, regardless of who you are, where you come from, you know, or whatever, right? And another thing is like, say, like, this is a very popular one, right? When you're grieving, right, they'll just say, oh, well, just stay positive. And it's like, you know, not only is that fake, but that also tells you something about them. Because all they care about is something like money or status. If someone dies, it doesn't even freaking bother them. Like, it's almost like they're unfazed by it. Like, it doesn't bother them like, say, like a poor person, right? Like, if a poor person, someone dies that they care about, or someone they knew, or someone that they look up to, or whatever, you know, that could be a singer, it could be a family member, it could be a spouse, it could be a friend, whatever. And they die or something tragic, or, you know, or whatever. And it's like, you know, they'll just say, oh, well, just stay positive. Like, they're trying to get you to act like it just didn't happen. And not only are they trying to get you to act like it just didn't happen, they're trying to get you to be more like them and just simply not care. And it's like, you know, because if you do care to them, you're not doing the thing that society does. Like, you're doing something different. And it's just like, you know, stuff like that, y'all, is really ridiculous, to be honest. It's very toxic. It's very damaging to people and everyone around you. Like, never under any circumstances would I tell anybody things like this. Like, I don't care who you are, where you come from, what political party you're from, what religion you are. I don't really care. I would still never tell someone this kind of crap, because it's heartless. It's not how a person should be. And it's like another thing too, this one's a very popular one, like just like the other one I mentioned, is you're dismissing a person's struggles, and they'll tell you, oh, at least you have something to be great, or you got a lot to be grateful for, right? This could be, oh, Well, you woke up this morning, or you're still breathing, or you have a job, you have food on the table, you have a house, you know, you have a roof over your head. You know, the list goes on, right? And yes, while I said these are blessings, they are. But it's like, you know, nobody is thinking about that crap. No one is thinking about that at all. If let's say their family member, right, or someone they love or care about, like I mentioned, a friend, spouse, someone you look up to, a singer, an actress, or actor, whatever, you know, not necessarily someone you're idolizing, but like someone you just look up to, you know, like for me, Chester Bennington from Linkin Park was one of them, and I took that really hard. But like, it's like, you know, you're basically saying that whatever that person is going through does not matter. And you know, that's one of the worst things you could possibly tell a person. Like, honestly, it does not get much worse than that. Like, I know in my life, I've had a lot of people, you know, say this. Like, I had someone say to me one time, there's a singer I like, right? And like, oh, well, he shouldn't be depressed because, you know, he's got money. And it's like, you know, are you really being serious right now? Like, are you that stupid? Like, literally, are you that dumb? Because, you know, money does not cure depression. If it did, there wouldn't be, the only depressed people would be poor people. You know, so, and obviously we know that that is not the case. You know, there's all kinds of people that have money that are depressed. And it just really amazes me how these people work. And I don't know, I think it's just really sickening. But another thing too is like, they will promote good vibes only, right? And they'll avoid any conversation about a negative topic. That like, if say you need to talk to them, you trust them and you want to talk to them, well, they don't even want to do it. You'll come to find out, and it's like, you know, nope, good vibes only here. You know, like, no, get these people out of your life. Seriously, get them out of your life. I don't care who they are. If it's your spouse, a friend, a family member, get these people out of your life. You are not benefiting them. You're not benefiting from them being in your life. Why continue to do it? Literally, where's the reward? Are they providing a solution to the problem? Are they helping you fix the problem? If not, get rid of them. Like, it's easy as that. Because these people are only going to make the problem worse. They're only going to make the problem 10 times worse. Because this will damage relationships fast. This will damage relationships fast because they will feel unheard, unsupported with their feelings, or dismissed. All of this kind of stuff, right? And it just really freaking amazes me that people it really amazes me, because why in the heck would you want to damage your relationships like this? I don't understand. Like, another thing too, it will increase that other person's negative emotions tenfold, because they're going to have greater anxiety. They're going to have extreme sadness, depression, massive shame. And, you know, it's also going to hinder their emotional processing. Because if you cannot learn to process your emotions in a positive light, regardless if you're a woman or a man, you know, you can't do that if you're trying to be forced to be positive. It doesn't work that way, y'all. Like, it really doesn't. And another thing too, this will lead to isolation. I know it has in my case, because, you know, you'll feel like something's wrong with you, if you can't maintain this kind of positive outlook. But when you wake up, like I have, when you wake up to the reality of how these people really and truly are, that's it. Because you will isolate yourself willingly, because you will not want to be around these types of toxic people. You just won't do it. So another thing too is like you have to, you know, process your emotions, because if you don't, it's not going to be good. Because here, get this, right? So if this was really, truly, and honestly a good way to be, why is crime at an all-time high? Don't worry, I'll wait. Like, why is crime at an all-time high? Because here's the thing. If, say, a homeless person, right, there was a story I heard, right? This woman, she gave, like, this homeless guy, like, I think it was like $800. And she did it out of the kindness of her heart. And literally, she gave this man this type of positivity, right? And she goes in the store, comes out, and as soon as she's walking back past the guy, like, I mean, with her back turned, this homeless guy literally kills her and takes every cent she has. So what did the toxic positivity do? Nothing. It did nothing. Because this type of stuff, this type of thinking, it doesn't work. Because if it worked, the world would not be such a so-called bad place as people like to say, which is, the world is a bad place, don't get me wrong. But it's like, the reason I said that is because a lot of people, you know, they'll acknowledge the world is bad, but then it's like, oh, well, just be positive, you know, it could change. You know? No, it's not going to change. The world has been bad. Yeah, it's never been good. Like, I mean, why would it stop being bad now? Like, it's not. But I will say this: one thing I do want to go over is, not only will toxic positivity people do all this stuff, but these people are fake as hell, and they will talk trash about you, possibly to your face, or especially, you know, when they're in full gossip mode behind your back, right? So it's like, you know, why would you want to be around a person you know is like that? Like, what's the reward here? And not only that, but they will constantly talk about how bad people look to them. They're always talking about someone's appearance or something that they're doing, something that ain't even really none of their dang business, to be honest. Like, and you know, it's like, another thing they'll talk about is how the other person is poorer than them. Oh, look at that person, they're on food stamps. Or look at that person, he works at McDonald's, and you know, I have a better job than that. You know, it's like, you know, these people are fake as hell, y'all. They're fake as hell. I highly recommend getting away from them. Because if you don't get away from them, you're only going to just cause yourself further pain. You're only going to cause yourself further anguish, because these people bring nothing to the table. They bring nothing good into your life. Why keep them around? Like, literally. And not only that, they will always want to, like, show off and try to gaslight you and say whatever's going wrong, you know, it's your problem, because you're attracting all this stuff to you. So let me get this straight. Let me ask you this. We attract all this stuff to us. So if you're depressed, you attract that to you. Okay, so let me ask you this. The poor kids who are starving in Africa, do they attract that to them? Or does it just happen just out of chance? Like, you know, like, seriously, like, those people did not ask for that. What about third world countries? They're poor. Did they ask for that? No, they didn't. The way that these people think is so stupid, because no matter how much toxic positivity you feed the people in Africa, guess what? The situation ain't freaking changing. It's not changing. Like, I mean, what the hell else do you expect me to say? Because, you know, there's people literally starving to death, children starving to death, ain't got clean water to drink, and yet these people are just saying, oh, well, just be positive, or, oh, well, you know, be glad you got this, or, oh, well, you know, some people have it harder. And it's like, you know, if these people would honestly tell them that, oh, well, somebody's got it harder, these people are idiots. Literally, they are dumb. Because, and to be honest with you, people who are listening to them, they shouldn't listen to them, because it's just not a good, healthy environment to be in. And I'm not saying you just got to be negative 24/7 and just be like, woe is me. That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying this is what they do when you try to talk to them about an issue that you're dealing with, right? You know, you're trying to talk to somebody and they're very dismissive. They don't care. That's the problem. They do not care. And it's like, you know, why waste your time with these kinds of people? Because it's only going to let you down. My advice is to get them out of your life. They serve no purpose in your life. This is how it works, right? So, if you're talking to somebody about a problem, if they can't A, provide a solution, B, fix the problem, or give you tools to fix the problem, genuine, heartfelt tools, not BS garbage that they try to feed you, right? If they're not bringing anything to the table, if they're not bringing anything positive to your life, anything good to your life, bye. I don't need you. And you don't need them either, y'all. Even the people who's going to see this video later on, y'all don't need them. Don't put up with BS just to quote unquote have a fake relationship with family, people you think are friends that are actually acquaintances or snakes. Just don't do it, because life is short and you only get one. Make the best of it. So, another thing I want to touch base on here is going back to the one thing that I said, if you're grieving, well, just try to stay positive. Kid you not, there are some people that their toxic positivity is so bad. Like, say a woman has a miscarriage, right? Like, I've actually heard this. Like, they will tell a woman who had a miscarriage, oh, well, don't worry about it. You can just have another one. And it's like, you know, do you realize how evil that is to say to someone that actually wanted the child so bad more than anything? You're basically telling them that it didn't matter, that the baby that they desperately so wanted didn't matter, and they can just have another one. And it's like, you know, that's like saying, oh, well, my father died of cancer, but oh, I can go get another one. I can go get a stepdad. Or come on now, it's stupid. It's completely stupid. Like, anybody with this type of thinking is an idiot, because I'm sure y'all have honestly heard people say stuff like this. Like, as a matter of fact, I pretty much know you have, because everyone has heard this kind of stuff. Like, you know, you have a problem and they'll be so dismissive. You know, it's like, oh, you can't even afford to be negative in a situation. It's like, yeah, sure, you should be positive to a degree, to an extent. But it's like, you know, these people, they're not doing that. They're doing toxic positivity. And it just, I don't know, it's really appalling. Like, it's disgusting. It's sickening because these people, they don't have empathy, they don't have sympathy. We've established that. We've talked about that several times in other videos, right? So another thing is like, why not only why would you want to even be around them, but like another thing too is like, see, when you go and tell somebody this and you keep getting the same results like over and over of people saying this garbage to you, it's going to make it to where you just don't want to tell anybody about your problems. It's going to make it to where you can't trust anybody or to confide in them. And this is a common theme, especially within men, right? So it's just like, you know, toxic positivity, y'all, gets you nowhere. You know, another thing is like, okay, take like that earthquake that happened in Haiti back in the 2000s, right? Now, I remember this girl, she had came from Haiti, right? And she had moved because of the earthquake literally destroyed like her entire village. Like, I mean, it was gone. Like, there was nothing left. Like, I still remember the story that this girl told when I was a teenager because I don't know, it just really impacted me, I guess. But she talked about it, and she said she doesn't know what her and her mom are going to do, her mom and dad are going to do because, you know, there's literally nothing left in Haiti. And obviously that's where they wanted to be, was in Haiti. And, you know, because they were from there and all that, you know, so that's where they wanted to be. They didn't really want to be in the States. It was a very heart-wrenching story she told, but it was like, you know, I remember at the time, one of the teachers was talking to her, and she was like, well, you know, try not to stress about it. Don't stress about it because they're going to rebuild it all. And it's like, you know, really? How do you know that? Because if anybody with a brain knows that Haiti is a poor country. So, no, you do not know that. As a matter of fact, still to this day, that place where that earthquake happened, they've still never really fully recovered. Because the earthquake was literally so bad. It was a very high earthquake. And you're sitting here telling someone that kind of garbage that just went through something like that. Like, I even had this one person, right, back when I was in a tornado. They said, well, don't worry about it because a tornado never hits twice in the same place. And it's like, you know, are you that stupid? Like, literally, you gotta be that stupid. You obviously don't know crap about anything because do you know how many times the people in Kansas, Oklahoma have literally had to rebuild several times, probably 10, 20, 30 times. And there's probably even a lot of times they'll be getting like the framework up and then just a tornado comes and just completely decimates the entire area again. And it's like, you know, these people don't know what they're talking about. They're the same types of people that say, oh, lightning never strikes twice in the same place. That's BS too, because it does. Like, that's absurd. Like, I've even seen video evidence of that. Like, but it's so stupid that how people act like this because it doesn't really help them. And That's what these people think. They think if you're poor, you chose that, you attracted that. If you're in poverty, you attracted that. And it's like, these are the same people that believe in the BS, you know, teaching of, oh, I can manifest stuff into existence. You know, all this kinds of garbage kind of teachings you'll hear. Like, it could be on YouTube, it could be on TikTok, it could be on social media, or it could be at the job, it could be especially at the church, you know, out in public, whatever. You just cannot do that. I can sit here all day long, right, and have this so-called toxic positivity mindset, and it's like, you know, I could sit here and say, well, I'm going to speak $1 billion into existence. I'm going to speak it into my bank account, and then eventually it'll come in my bank account. No, it won't. Unless you're a billionaire, no, it won't. It's absurd. Like, it makes no sense why you would even waste your life and time and energy on thinking like that, or with these people. Like, seriously, don't waste your time on them, because they're no good. They're no good. Like, and it's like, you know, another thing too is these same people will try to act like everything is fine later on, especially when it's like Thanksgiving or Christmas. You know, they'll try to act like everything's fine, nothing's wrong, and then when the holidays are over, they go back to being the same way. And I know this is the case, you know, for my family. I know this is the case for other people's family that I know, and just random people that I've seen. It's like, you know, it's very sad to have to witness this, but it is my reality. It's a lot of people's reality. But like, you know, I have to say, the teacher, that she just blew me away saying that. Like, oh, well, they're going to rebuild it, you know, and it'll take time, but they'll rebuild it. And it's like, you know, oh, okay, yeah, sure. You go ahead and tell her that the people that she lost in the earthquake will come back to life too, because oh, that's just being positive. Come on now, literally, like, sure, they can rebuild it, but that's the thing. That village will never be the same again. It'll never be the same again. And it's like, how are you going to sit here and tell somebody some crap like that? Like, no duh, they're going to rebuild it. It's like, no duh, I mean, when they get the funds, but it's not going to be the same. It's not going to look the same. And, you know, you may say, oh, well, that's just being ungrateful. And it's like, no, that is not being ungrateful. That is being realistic. Like, you can be grateful for getting new stuff and still miss the old stuff. Like, come on now. Like, I mean, it's ridiculous. But, yeah, anyway, if there's anything like that anybody else wants me to talk about, the earthquake messed it up and absolutely not the same. Yeah, I mean, that's like, you know, after a big tornado. Like, you know, Moore, Oklahoma, man, they had like a massive EF5 tornado, right? That place will never be the same again. Never. Like, not even in 100 years. Because that tornado literally scarred that town for eternity. Like, it's you just can't get rid of that. The scars never go away. And I mean, yeah, sure, when all the people who went through it pass away, you'd be like, oh, well, it would then. Well, it's like, no, it wouldn't, because just because those people aren't around anymore doesn't mean that the tornado just suddenly didn't happen. And it's like, you know, but that's what they want you to do. They want you to pretend that this stuff just, your past, what you've been through, they want you to pretend like it didn't happen. And it's like, you know, your past defines you, So if you're a man, right, and you've been rejected by women your whole life, you've had no friends, you're an outcast. And you know, it's like even a woman, if she's never had a man or whatever, and you know, never had a man, and she was an outcast, and you know, that's going to affect her and his way of thinking when they're older. That's going to affect them for the rest of their life. And these people they want you to pretend like it does not happen. They want you to pretend, oh, well, everything's honky-dory, you know, everything is just great, you know. And it's like, you know, no, it's not, because that is not realistic. That is not in the realm of reality. That is not in the realm of realisticness. It's just completely stupid. Like, I mean, that's like me. Like, I'll tell you, as a matter of fact, I'll give you another example. So this girl I knew, okay, I will say this girl's first name. I won't say her last name for privacy reasons, but this girl I knew back in school, her name was Tori, and she was so sweet. She was really sweet, and I was 15, 16 at the time, and she was the same age as me. And anyway, she had cancer, right? And I remember there was people telling her, "Oh, don't worry, you're going to get through this." Now I'm not saying tell the person, "Oh, well, you're just going to die." That's not what I'm saying to say. Do not say that either. But like, you know, I could understand if someone was like, you know, keep praying, or you know, something like that. I could understand, but just the way that they went about it. But anyway, she had cancer, right? And she was out for a day, right? And you know me, I got pretty worried, because like I said, I talked to her at times and whatnot. But she was so sweet too. Like she was. I don't have anything but good things to say about her. Put it that way. I'm not going to go on a whole rant here. But anyway, she didn't show up, right? And the second day came, she didn't show up. Well, come to find out, she was in the hospital. It was like the third or fourth day she had died in the hospital, right? And here's my question. Her having that positive, these people telling her to have this positive, toxic positivity thinking, what did that do for her? What did it do for her? She's dead in the ground. What did it do for her? As a matter of fact, especially with men, if people would stop this toxic positivity stuff, a lot of people would still be here living and breathing right now. And you know exactly what I'm saying. People who's ended it, you know, a lot of them would still be here living, breathing right now if they had someone that would actually listen to them and who actually cared. And it's like, you know, there is no other way around that, because, you know, people today are just completely freaking heartless. Like, it's honestly just ridiculous at this point. Like, but like, honestly, my advice to respond to this, you know, try to acknowledge all your emotions. That's something you have to do regardless if you're a man or a woman. You know, and make sure if you're around these people, get them out of your life. That is the first step and getting rid of this problem is get them out of your life. Another thing is, if it's possible, try to seek some healthy support if it is possible. I mean, like I said, more than likely, I would say it's probably not, since, you know, you're dealing with this problem. I get it. I've been in the same situation myself. So it's like, it can be hard. It can be hard to find positive people who will listen and who genuinely care and not beat around the bush, not do BS answers. And yeah, so it's like, another thing is like, you know, try to find a hobby as well. I definitely recommend that. If you're a gamer, game away. You know, just make sure, especially, you know, if you're a Christian, make sure you're just spending time in the Word as well and whatnot. But like, yeah, y'all, it's ridiculous out here. It really honestly is. It is crazy out here. Like, I don't even have the words to say how crazy it really is out here. Like, but like, another thing is you have to challenge unrealistic standards, y'all. You got to challenge it, because if you don't, you're not going to get anywhere. Regardless if anyone hears you out, you got to stand firm. You got to stand your ground, challenge it. Tell them, you're not going to deal with this BS. You're not going to deal with it. You know, and if it means cutting out, and listen, if every single person in your life is doing this, and it means cutting out every single person in your life because they are acting this way, they are doing this, by all means do it. I mean, you're not really losing anything. You know, I mean, yeah, sure, you may think you are, but in all reality, you're really not losing anything, because what are they doing for you? Literally, what are they doing for you as a human being? Literally, what are they doing? They're only tearing you down further. They're only making the issues and the problems worse. So it's like, why keep them in your life? Why not get them out? Like, I highly recommend doing that. But anyway, going back to the challenge and unrealistic standards, you know, you have to recognize that this stuff is unhealthy, it's unrealistic, it's BS, it's garbage, it's dumb, it's not, you know, it's just not real reality. And you can be happy from time to time. But here's the thing, if a person, I'm going to tell you this now, y'all, if a person has a smile on their face all the time, if they have a smirk, a grin all the time, do not trust them. They are a snake in disguise. It is BS. It is a disguise. It is fake. It's not genuine. It's BS. Do not fall for this crap. Like, I don't care what country you live in. I don't care where you come from, what religion you are, whatever. It does not matter at the end of the day when it comes to this, because toxic positivity will go for it all. Like that, they'll tell you regardless of what your stance is. So, yeah, you stand your ground, definitely. Make sure you stand your ground, y'all. I mean, I know that's what I'm doing, regardless of who it is. But if there's anything you else want me to talk about, if there's any other topics that, you know, you all can think of that you would like me to talk about, feel free to put it in the comments. Or you could put it in the Discord server if you're from the Discord server. But yeah, y'all, it's brutal out here. It's a rough world. It's a tough world, and I wish that things would get better for us all, but it's sadly it's just not going to. Not with people acting like this. People, you know, it's like they don't have any more sense of right or wrong or care in the world when they care about people's problems, because they just don't care, you know. But I'm gonna end this one here. I hope you all liked the video. If, like I said, if there's anything else you want me to chat about, make sure you leave a sub, put a comment if you're new, all that stuff, you know. So yeah, anyway, with that in mind, I'm gonna end this here. So God bless you all, and I will see you all next time. Peace.